The sudden system made Wang Mingzhen the little mountain god of his hometown's small hills, opening up his extraordinary life. On Earth, he appears to be a small owner of a plantation, but behind the scenes, he is the god of all mountains. Among all the heavens and realms, he appears to be submissive on the surface, but secretly steals the origin of mountains and rivers. This is a story about a mountain god plundering the origin of the mountains and rivers in the heavens, proving the Tao. Keywords of the novel. Journey to the heavens starting from the mountain god no pop-ups, Journey to the heavens starting from the mountain god TXT complete collection download, latest chapter reading of Journey to the heavens starting from the mountain god. Chapter 1. Shenguo System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Shenguo System, Ding, detected the presence of the deity, the divine kingdom system is binding. The binding of the Shenguo system has been completed, and the evolution of the Shinji is underway. The divine kingdom system has not been activated, and the evolution of divine scriptures has failed. Please activate the system as soon as possible, God. A series of mechanical prompts in his mind instantly awakened Wang Mingzhen's previously drowsy brain. As a decade-old bookworm and a street fighting writer at the starting point, I don't know how many systematic novels I have read, so I naturally understand what the system means. This is a great opportunity that can change one's fate against the heavens. Wang Mingzhen, with excitement and unease, silently called out to the system, fearing that it was just an absurd and unrestrained dream. Life has smoothed out the edges, and time has corroded the spirit. He is a microcosm of countless ordinary people who struggle to survive in big cities. Wang Mingzhen's call did not receive any response, which made a hint of self-deprecation appear on his face. The heavy pressure of life made him almost breathless. How ironic it is to place hope on an elusive system. After graduating from college, Wang Mingzhen found a relaxed job as an engineering supervisor. A monthly salary of 3,000 to 4,000 yuan, plus some other income, is about 5,000 yuan per month, barely able to survive in Handong City, Central Plains Province. I am about to stand at 30, and with the support of my parents, I took out a loan to buy a small 3-bedroom apartment in Handong City. A down payment of 500,000 yuan consumed half of his parents' life savings, and a monthly mortgage of 6,000 yuan put a lot of pressure on Wang Mingzhen. In order to save money, he pushed out all social gatherings with friends, quit smoking, drinking water, and playing cards. Even when buying clothes, shoes, and socks online, he chose those discounted products. He forced himself to live like a social animal. However, relying solely on cost-saving measures is simply not enough to support him in repaying his mortgage, and open source has become a top priority. Without any means of livelihood, he reluctantly chose to become an online writer. Online novels are easy to get started with, but it's too difficult for Wang Mingzhen to stand out. Obviously, she doesn't have the talent in this area and has become one of countless street writers. With full attendance every month, she only earns around 3,000 yuan in writing fees. By implementing a dual approach of source and expenditure reduction, we can only maintain a balance of income and expenditure. At this moment, Wang Mingzhen realized that 996 was truly a blessing, making him envy, and hate social animals who worked for more than 16 hours a day, working tirelessly throughout the year for the sake of full attendance. Wang Mingzhen shook his drowsy brain, drank a cheap cup of awakening tea, and then sat at the computer desk to continue typing, which was a huge torture for him. But in order to be more diligent, men can only be a little harsh on themselves. Even if the thought process is smooth, a chapter of 4,000 words still takes 3 to 4 hours. If it's Calvin, it will take at least 7 or 8 hours to grind slowly. In the early stages of writing a novel, with a passion, I was barely able to sustain it. But as the novel reaches its final stage, the plot is in a state of collapse, and subscriptions are plummeting, resulting in a natural decrease in creative passion. But for the sake of full attendance and just enough food, he has to update on time every day. Sometimes, Calvin is so serious that he has to pretend to publish anti-theft chapters and wait until the next day to slowly update them. Walking by the river often, where can one not get their shoes wet? In this way, he began to be unable to even ensure full attendance, his income naturally collapsed, he couldn't even maintain a balance of income and expenses, and the pressure grew stronger. In addition, with his parents urging him to get married, Wang Mingzhen naturally felt that life was becoming increasingly difficult. It's very difficult to even support himself, and it's not easy to find a girlfriend. He can only refuse various blind dates arranged by his parents with a bitter smile. Who would have thought that under such pressure, he had an illusion and had a dream of system enhancement? The more he thought it through, the more Wang Mingzhen felt ridiculous about himself. Winning a big prize in the lottery was more realistic than the system itself. Just as Wang Mingzhen gave up, a virtual panel came to his mind. Shenguo system. Not activated God. Wang Mingzhen divine rank. None clergy. None talent. None divine power. None divine power. None believer. 4056 incense wish power. 125575. Looking at the virtual panel that appeared in his mind, Wang Mingzhen's self-deprecation at the corner of his mouth became even more apparent. He didn't expect that this illusion was becoming more and more powerful, and even things like property panels came out. Wang Mingzhen pressed his temples with both hands to relieve his tired spirit. However, the virtual panel remained firmly rooted in his mind and never dissipated, causing Wang Mingzhen's eyebrows to furrow slightly and his heart to become extremely restless. In this situation, Wang Mingzhen had no mood to continue coding. He lay in bed, trying to fall asleep. The virtual panel in my mind not only did not dissipate, but also became a bit clearer. Since he couldn't sleep, Wang Mingzhen focused his consciousness on the virtual panel. The information on the panel is very simple, clear at a glance, and has no research value at all. Until Wang Mingzhen discovered that there was a small question mark after the inactive section of the Divine Kingdom system, it was easy to overlook it if you didn't pay attention. When Wang Mingzhen focused his attention on the question mark, a wave of information came to his mind. Activation conditions for the God Kingdom system. 1. Find an unowned temple to bind to the God Kingdom. 2. Have more than 1,000 followers. 3. Accumulate 100,000 incense and fire wishes. Watching the activation conditions of the Divine Kingdom, Wang Mingzhen couldn't help but smile at the corner of his mouth, feeling that this illusion was becoming increasingly interesting. More than 4,000 believers, just thinking about it makes me laugh. Who in modern society still believes in gods? Don't be fooled by the flourishing Taoist temples and incense in those tourist attractions. How many truly believe in gods? Worshipping the gods and seeking Buddha is just a formality, or perhaps one has done too much to seek peace of mind. Well, Tibet may be an exception, as the Tibetan people's faith in Tibetan Buddhism is deeply ingrained in their bloodline, and the piety of those pilgrims has attracted countless people's attention. There is a belief called lifelong worship, which refers to those Tibetans. As his thoughts drifted further away, Wang Mingzhen's consciousness became increasingly blurred and slowly fell into a deep sleep. The next day when he woke up, the virtual panel in his mind had disappeared, which made him inexplicably feel a bit disappointed. In the following 10 days, as usual dull and boring, Wang Mingzhen gradually forgot about the affairs of the Divine Kingdom system when he went to work and finished coding. Especially with the approaching of Mid-Autumn Festival, he got an extra harvest. In the field of engineering supervision, although the salary is relatively low, they can still receive small gifts from the construction unit during holidays and festivals. This time, he was no exception. He received his own holiday gift, 3 boxes of mooncakes, and 3 holiday red envelopes. There is not much money in each red envelope. There are only 5 soft sister coins, totaling 1,500 yuan. This has eased Wang Mingzhen's nervous financial situation a little, enough for him to go back to his hometown for a more relaxed Mid-Autumn Festival. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Activation System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Activation System. Wang Mingzhen's hometown is rural, located in a hilly area with only a few acres of mountainous terrain, making it impossible to sustain daily life. When he was very young, his parents went out to work and were away from home for many years. However, his hometown carries the entire childhood memories of Wang Mingzhen, with many happy memories of him. No matter how tired he is, as long as he stays in his hometown for a period of time, the fatigue in his heart will ease a bit. Therefore, he often takes advantage of his vacation to return to his hometown for a few days. There is no train connecting to his hometown yet, so Wang Mingzhen can only take a long-distance bus home. On the afternoon of September 20th, he packed his things and actually put a few clothes and packs of cigarettes in his bag, then went out to take the subway to the passenger station. Nowadays, cars are very popular, and the passenger flow at passenger stations is far from comparable to previous years. I bought the ticket very smoothly, got on the train on time, found a seat by the window, took out my phone, and started reading novels. China is truly a populous country, and the traffic on highways is like a long dragon, with no end in sight. This time, Wang Mingzhen did not escape the fate of traffic congestion. The long-distance bus was traveling at turtle speed and occasionally had to stop for a while. It usually only takes 4 hours by car, but it took 7 or 8 hours to reach the town. Telephone notification to cousin Wang Mingzhen, who returned to his hometown first, asking him to have a late-night snack together in town and drive him home. The next day, Wang Mingzhen slept until around 10 o'clock before getting up. After washing up, I brought a box of mooncakes to my cousin Wang Mingzhen's house, chatted with him for a while, and also had a meal. After dinner, he and Wang Mingzhen headed towards the small hill at their doorstep with a complete set of fishing gear and small benches. After flipping over 2 small hills, there is a large wild pond. There are many Krypton carp in the wild pond, which is a nearby fishing destination. Many middle-aged and elderly people are fishing by the pond. Wang Mingzhen and his team found a spot near the water grass and river by the pond. They first used bait to make a nest, then tied the fishing line and float to the fishing rod. Then, they adjusted the float according to the water depth to determine the optimal position of the float. Hanging the purchased small red earthworms on the fishing hook is the beginning of the fishing journey. Although this pond is a wild pond, every year the villagers who enjoy fishing purchase a batch of fish fry to feed in the pond, so there are not many types of fish in the pond. Fishing time passed quickly, and the afternoon passed in the blink of an eye. Looking at the 30 or 40 Krypton carp inside the fish protection, Wang Mingzhen couldn't help but show a smile on her face. The harvest was really good. Pack up the fishing gear, climb over 2 small hills, walk about 500 to 600 meters, and then return home. Due to both of his parents working, Wang Mingzhen was too lazy to cook and directly gave the fish he caught to his cousin, preparing to continue eating at his house at night. After dinner, Wang Mingzhen returned home and lay on the Grandmaster's chair on the second-floor balcony, ready to use the writer's assistant on her phone to update her novel. However, Calvin is quite serious, and the coding is simply turtle speed. Wang Mingzhen couldn't help but look up towards the distance, and the small hill in front of the door blocked all his sight. This small hill is about 10 meters high, with various miscellaneous trees growing wildly, and various small animals such as rabbits, pheasants, and weasels surviving in it. The most eye-catching thing is the small mountain temple on the small hill. The mountain god temple is not large, only 3 to 4 square meters of small houses, and a mountain god statue is enshrined on the altar. Every year on the first day of the Lunar New Year, the villagers go to the mountain god temple to offer incense and pray for the blessings of the mountain god for a safe year. If there are any red and white celebrations in the village, they will also go to the mountain temple to offer incense. This is a custom in the village that has been going on for at least 20.30 years. Anyway, since Wang Mingzhen's memory began, he has been visiting the mountain god temple every year to offer incense. Looking at the mountain temple, Wang Mingzhen didn't know what he was thinking and walked straight out towards it. The path to the mountain god temple is very flat and is a concrete road funded by the village. It is about 300 meters long and directly connected to the village road. It is about 300 to 400 meters from Wang Mingzhen's house to the mountain god temple, and it only takes 5 to 6 minutes to walk. When he arrived at the mountain temple, a mechanical sound suddenly came to his mind. Discovered the unknown mountain temple, and meets the activation conditions of the divine kingdom system. Is it activated? Wang Mingzhen was taken aback for a moment, wondering why this damn illusion had reappeared. He couldn't help but nod in disbelief. Immediately after, another mechanical sound echoed in his mind. Activation of the divine kingdom system, 10, 9, 8, 2, 1. Successfully activated the divine kingdom system. The divine scriptures are evolving. Successfully evolved the divine scripture and obtained the 9th grade Xiaqingshan mountain divine throne. Twinkles of light streamed into Wang Mingzhen's mind from the depths of the underworld, and under the influence of a mysterious force, a white talisman emanated endless mystery, emanating from the 9th grade Xiaqingshan mountain god's throne. The moment this divine symbol appeared, it plunged Wang Mingzhen's consciousness into a vast and chaotic space. A powerful force surged out of the talisman, directly splitting through chaos and forming a miniature space within a radius of 100 meters. At the moment of space formation, a small hill emerged out of nowhere. In Wang Mingzhen's perception, this small hill was very familiar and seemed to be a microcosm of the small hill in front of the door. At this moment, a mysterious force surged out of the small hill and began to cleanse Wang Mingzhen's tendons, marrow, and flesh. Originally, Wang Mingzhen was slightly overweight and had a beer belly. She wanted to lose weight but lacked the perseverance to exercise. Now, under this mysterious force, all the excess flesh on the body has been refined, the muscles on the body have also become stronger, emitting a jade-like luster. Wang Mingzhen could feel a refreshing sensation all over her body, as if it contained endless power. With a casual punch, a muffled sound could be heard in the air, exuding a certain aura of $1,000 cannot buy a single sound. At the same time, there was a mysterious connection between him and the small hill under his feet, where every blade of grass and every tree appeared in his consciousness. This mysterious feeling made him addicted to it. Meanwhile, a wave of information emerged in Wang Mingzhen's consciousness, giving him a preliminary understanding of the divine kingdom system. The origin of the divine kingdom system is unknown, claiming to be the supreme secret treasure refined by a supreme deity. As for why the supreme god refined this treasure, Wang Mingzhen is not clear. The information in the Shenguo system was not explained, it should be due to his insufficient authority. According to the information from the Shenguo system, the level of gods is divided into 9 grades and 18 grades, with the lowest being the 9th grade and the highest being the 1st grade. On top of the genuine 1st grade, there are higher level deities that Wang Mingzhen does not have enough authority to know. Feeling the powerful power within her body and the various messages in her mind, Wang Mingzhen's excitement was uncontrollable. He is just an ordinary person, and with such a huge opportunity, he naturally cannot control his emotions, let alone remain calm. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Divine Book Panel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Divine Book Panel. At the Mountain God Temple, Wang Mingzhen's mind moved and a golden light condensed into a portal shape, embedded in the void like flowing light. Wang Mingzhen did not hesitate, took a step forward, and his figure did not enter the household. Inside the portal is a golden space of about 100 square meters, with only one mountain temple occupying more than half of the golden space. The plaque of the Mountain God Temple bears the inscription of Xiaqingshan Mountain God Temple. On both sides of the temple gate are a pair of couplets, with a flag covering the sun and moon, and a 7-star sword shaking the heavens and earth. After careful observation by Wang Mingzhen, it was found that this mountain temple is an enlarged version of the mountain temple outside the village. The only difference is that there is no statue at the altar, but a pedestal. Sitting upright on the divine throne, the divine light flowed around him, and the purple golden crown of all spirits, the Xianhuang armor of Wu Ji, and the shoes of Ba Huang Zhenyu were automatically worn on him. The flag of the sun and moon, the seven-star sword, and the seal of the mountain god also appeared one by one and fell into the hands of Wang Mingzhen. In an instant, the majesty of the mountain god was fully revealed, and Wang Mingzhen also figured out the origin of these treasures at this moment. These treasures are divine artifacts derived from the origin of the divine kingdom after its activation, with infinite potential and the ability to evolve continuously. Wang Mingzhen is very satisfied with this outfit. Although it is only a 9th-grade artifact, its defense is not weak at all, enough to defend against attacks from all light weapons of Blue Star. As long as he doesn't die, he hardly needs to worry about his life's safety. What's even more terrifying is that the Divine Kingdom has strong defense and concealment. Unless Wang Mingzhen allows or surpasses his 3 great realms, it is impossible to glimpse the location of the Divine Kingdom, let alone break its defense. It can be said that as long as Wang Mingzhen hides in the space of the Divine Kingdom, all weapons on the Blue Star cannot harm him, and even if Xiaqingshan is destroyed, he can still maintain his divine position with the help of the Divine Kingdom. And this is just the lowest level of Divine Kingdom. As the Divine Kingdom continues to evolve and activate more functions, the power it possesses will also become even more terrifying. At this moment, Wang Mingzhen's unbridled laughter echoed throughout the entire space of the Divine Kingdom. If you don't still care about your image, you must roll on the ground a few times. When he had enough fun, he spread out on the altar and summoned the divine scriptures. God. Wang Mingzhen age. 29 divine rank. From the 9th rank clergy. Xiaqingshan mountain god destiny skill. Reincarnation of heaven and man, unactivated, divine powers. Abundant grains, prosperous 6 livestock, driving beasts, spiritual communication with plants and trees, sorting out the earth's veins, escaping and moving mountains divine artifacts. Wanling Zi Jin Guan, Wu Ji Xian Huang Jia, Ba Huang Zhenyu Lu, Sun and Moon Ling Flag, 7-star sword, Shan Shen Fain divine power. 0, plus, believer. 4126 incense wish power. 125567 Wang Mingzhen looked at the information on the divine book, his eyes couldn't help but sparkle. Talent. Reincarnation of heaven and man consuming divine power can randomly reincarnate a wisp of true spirit into the heavenly worlds. The more divine power is consumed, the higher the world level after reincarnation, and the higher the maximum limit that can be achieved through cultivation. After the reincarnated body reaches the world's upper limit, it can integrate all the gains from cultivation into the body through the body's guidance, enhancing the body's spiritual foundation. Once the reincarnated body dies, all inputs will be wasted, and even the memories of the reincarnated body cannot be obtained. Divine power. Abundant grains. After using this magical power, the vitality of crops is greatly enhanced, and various diseases and pests can be avoided. The crop yield increases by 10%, and the nutritional value also increases by 10%, making it a farming skill. Divine power. 6 animals thrive. After using this magic, the vitality of farmed animals is greatly enhanced, which can prevent various diseases, increase their growth rate by 10%, and enhance their nutritional value by 10%. It can be called a farming miracle. Divine power. Drive all beasts. After using this divine power, not only can it drive beasts for personal use, but it can also nourish beasts and make them stronger. Proficient in animal language, able to listen to and communicate with various birds and animals, incredibly magical. Divine power. Plants and trees have spiritual power. After using this divine power, plants and trees can be transformed into Taoist soldiers and communicate with them to obtain various intelligence from their memories. Magic. Sort out the veins of the earth. After using this divine power, one can swim through the veins of the earth, unblock the blocked areas of the veins, and allow the energy of mountains, rivers, and veins to flow smoothly, nourishing all living beings in the mountains. Divine skill. Escape and move mountains. After using this power, one can freely walk on the earth and also move mountains to attack enemies. This is not only a technique of escape, but also an attack on divine powers. Although each of these supernatural powers has its own mysteries, they require divine power to be used. At this time, Wang Mingzhen had zero divine power, so he could not use any divine powers. Looking at the plus sign behind the divine power, Wang Mingzhen clicked on it with his mind, and a mechanical prompt sound suddenly came to mind. Whether to use the power of incense and fire to convert into divine power, with a conversion efficiency of 10,000 to 1. After Wang Mingzhen nodded and confirmed, the divine power column on the divine book panel changed directly from 0 to 12. Looking at those 12 divine powers, Wang Mingzhen couldn't help but feel restless in his heart, wanting to use his divine powers to test his power. However, Wang Mingzhen's rationality firmly suppressed the impulse. These divine powers were too precious, and it was difficult to replenish them after consumption. Now it is the 21st century, with the great development of popular wisdom and the rampant atheism, the development of faith is definitely a dead end. For Wang Mingzhen, the top priority is to understand the believers and the sources of incense and desire. Feeling the more than 4,000 almost ethereal lines of faith in the sea of consciousness, Wang Mingzhen couldn't help but smile bitterly. These believers are all the lowest devout pan-believers, and their line of faith cannot bear Wang Mingzhen's divine thoughts, so they naturally cannot obtain any information. At this moment, a spiritual light flashed through Wang Mingzhen's mind. He quickly took out his phone, clicked on the writer's assistant, and found that his novel fan happened to be 4126, and the total subscription data for the novel happened to be 125567. Such coincidental data made Wang Mingzhen's eyes flash with a clear understanding. His followers are those readers who have paid to subscribe to his novels, and every time they pay to subscribe, it becomes equivalent to a little bit of incense and desire. This discovery made Wang Mingzhen's face even worse, as the speed at which he obtained the power of incense and fire was too slow. At this rate, the incense wish power he accumulates each year can be converted into approximately 20 divine powers. Promoting to the rank of 9th grade requires 1,000 points of divine power, which also means that Wang Mingzhen needs at least 50 years to accumulate the necessary divine power for promotion to the rank of 9th grade. If we include the divine power consumed by Wang Mingzhen in his daily life, it will take even longer. For mortals, this period is naturally incredibly long, but for gods, it is nothing at all. Even if Wang Mingzhen is just a mere 9th grade mountain god, he still has a divine lifespan of 300 years. Thinking of this, Wang Mingzhen's sense of urgency instantly dissipated. With such a long lifespan, Wang Mingzhen is confident that he can elevate the divine level to a higher level, possess more lifespan elements, and even reach the realm of eternal and immortal divine lifespan. After understanding this, Wang Mingzhen knew that the most important thing for him now was his lewd development and not to expose any abnormalities. As long as he can survive, his ending will definitely be brilliant. When he is invincible in the world, he won't just wave whatever he wants. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Daily Trivialities. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Daily Trivialities. Returning to his senses from the joy of obtaining the golden finger, Wang Mingzhen's expression was extremely complex. After washing his tendons and marrow, although his appearance remains ordinary, his skin exudes a white jade-like luster, and his temperament also contains a hint of majesty. The original small belly has turned into a round and smooth crystal belly, and the height has increased by 7 or 8 centimeters. Even myopia has disappeared, and vision has become far beyond that of ordinary people. Such a huge change made Wang Mingzhen feel overwhelmed for a moment. With his current appearance, if he appears in front of those acquaintances, it is not a clear indication that he has a problem. Although China has a sound legal system and ranks first in the world in terms of safety index, there are still crimes happening in those invisible corners. Wang Mingzhen doesn't want to use his life to test human nature, he doesn't want to be sliced and studied by others. Even if the probability is small, he won't gamble with his life. After all, his life is only one. Therefore, in the next 1 or 2 years, he is not prepared to appear in front of acquaintances, and he must be careful and avoid exposing abnormalities. Wang Mingzhen first called his cousin Wang Minggang and said that the company had an urgent matter to contact him. He wanted to go back to Handong City, Central Plains Province first and come back to play together when we have time in the future. After hanging up the phone, he called Director Wang of the office to resign. He worked in the company for 6 or 7 years, working alone for 3 or 4 people. He worked tirelessly, so Director Wang naturally didn't want to let him leave and wanted a raise to keep him. In the current situation of Wang Mingzhen, if he dares to stay, he naturally resigns resolutely. Director Wang recognized his resolute words and did not persuade him to stay. He readily approved his resignation. Next, Wang Mingzhen called his colleagues who had good relationships and told them about his resignation. As for the reason for resigning, I said I was ready to go back to my hometown to develop the breeding industry, and they were welcome to come and visit when they had time. This is not an excuse, but Wang Mingzhen's future plans. As a mountain god and possessing the divine powers of abundant grains and thriving livestock, whether it is developing agriculture or animal husbandry, the prospect of money will be very promising. For Wang Mingzhen, what he currently lacks is only the initial funding. Although he is now a mountain god, the area under his jurisdiction is only a few small hills, and there are no treasures buried by predecessors within the mountains. And none of the divine powers possessed by the mountain god can be directly realized, which is undoubtedly a sad story. This is the sadness of ordinary people, it is too difficult to earn the first bucket of gold. Wang Mingzhen lay in bed, closing her eyes and contemplating a plan to make money. At this moment, the divine consciousness that was originally suppressed within the sea of consciousness suddenly spread out, and everything within a radius of 10 meters was reflected in his consciousness, appearing every minute and with unparalleled clarity. Wang Mingzhen was shocked in his heart, and the image in his consciousness instantly disappeared without a trace. After being influenced by countless online articles, he immediately realized that the previous scene was his divine perception. This means that he already possesses divine consciousness, but he has not mastered the usage of divine consciousness. In the following period of time, besides resting, Wang Mingzhen practiced how to master divine consciousness in the divine realm space. After more than 2 months of practice, he was not only able to fully control his divine sense, but also explored many ways to use it. The most useful of them is the ability to explore, and everything within a radius of 10 meters cannot escape Wang Mingzhen's perception. Those obstacles are like nothingness under divine consciousness and have no effect at all. Of course, Wang Mingzhen practiced the most by scanning playing cards and dice in porcelain cups through his divine sense, which was related to his first bucket of gold. He doesn't like gambling, he gambles 10 times and scams 9 times, and many of them lose their entire lives. As the saying goes, knowing the outcome is gambling, knowing the outcome is called investment. Undoubtedly, with his divine sense's powerful exploration ability, gambling is just an investment for him, and it is still the quickest investment to make money. But for safety reasons, Wang Mingzhen forcibly suppressed the restlessness in his heart. Without means of self-protection, he still doesn't want to expose himself to others, even if the likelihood of encountering danger is extremely low. He is unwilling to gamble. So, Wang Mingzhen began to develop the technique of flying cards based on the inspiration of those gambling films in movies and TV dramas. It took him a week to raise the playing cards and allow them to move within the range of his divine sense. However, such playing cards have no power at all. After continuous improvement and exploration, Wang Mingzhen finally created his unique flying card technique. By continuously applying acceleration with divine awareness, an ordinary playing card has considerable killing power, fully restoring the power of flying card art in movies and TV dramas, and even surpassing it. Gambling is illegal within the territory of China. Due to historical reasons, Huaxia Haojiang's special zone is one of the world's famous gambling cities, with countless people going to Haojiang every year to spend money. Wang Mingzhen first applied for the Xianghao Pass on his mobile phone and prepared to invest in Haojiang Gambling City. Thanks to the efficiency of online work, he completed the relevant procedures in just a few days. Before departure, Wang Mingzhen took out all his bank cards. He didn't have much savings, but he had quite a few bank cards. In the end, he transferred all his deposits to the bank card of Bank of China, which was about 200,000 yuan. These money were gradually accumulated by him through years of frugality and frugality. Originally, Wang Mingzhen planned to use this money to decorate his new home, but now it has become the capital for him to invest in Haojiang. One night without a word, the next morning, Wang Mingzhen skillfully avoided the villagers and ran towards the town. If it had been before, he would never have had the intention of running, as a distance of over 10 kilometers was enough to make him feel hopeless. However, this time is different from the past. With his current physical fitness, the journey of more than 10 kilometers only takes half an hour. This is still the result of his intentional control. According to the experiment, his maximum speed is about 30 meters per second. I spent 8 yuan in the town to buy a bowl of beef noodles, a big bowl full, and a spoonful of beef. This beef noodle has a pretty good taste, with plenty of portions, which has filled Wang Mingzhen's stomach. After breakfast, Wang Mingzhen took the earliest bus to Handong City. There was no accident on the way, and 4 hours later, he arrived at the Handong bus station smoothly. Next, he transferred to the subway and headed to Handong International Airport. After arriving at the airport, it was already lunchtime, and he casually ate something before sitting in the waiting room waiting for the plane to take off. There are no direct international flights to Haojiang in Handong City, and you need to transfer to Kyoto International Airport. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Wang Mingzhen arrived at Haojiang International Airport on time and then smoothly checked into the hotel he had already booked. After a free dinner at the hotel, he was ready to execute his great investment plan and earn his first bucket of gold. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. First Barrel of Gold. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 First Barrel of Gold. Before coming to Haojiang, all of Wang Mingzhen's impressions of Haojiang were from films and TV dramas of Xiangjiang. A gambling master gallops freely in the casino, spending money like dirt, indulging in extravagance and gaining both fame and fortune. Of course, there are also swords and shadows, deceiving and deceiving. But when he truly came to Haojiang and entered the new Portuguese capital entertainment city, he was still intimidated by the low-key luxury, and those Xiangjiang movies and TV dramas could not depict the situation. The small family spirit of Xiangjiang's film and television dramas is once again fully revealed. Wang Mingzhen first went to the counter to exchange 10,000 yuan worth of chips and 50 chips with a face value of 200 yuan. Yunyu has never been to a casino, it's all hearsay. You don't need to delve deeper. Just a reminder, 10 bets and 9 losses. If you want to get rich through gambling, it will only make you even poorer in the end. Wang Mingzhen, who possesses divine sense, is very confident in his gambling skills, but he doesn't want to get into trouble. For him, the most important thing is investment safety and not to cause any trouble. Perhaps for the casino, he doesn't care if he wins hundreds or millions. But for some gamblers who lose with red eyes, or some fugitives, he is too ostentatious and will inevitably cause a lot of trouble. Wang Mingzhen is confident that with his strength, he can solve many problems. But if his abnormality is exposed and attracts the attention of relevant departments, it is not something he can handle now. Only by being born in this country can one understand the strength of the government. Every time there is a natural or man-made disaster, that powerful organizational ability is enough to make all countries in the world ashamed. Before having absolute self-protection power, Wang Mingzhen absolutely did not want to attract the attention of the country. He believes in the government, but he does not naively believe in human nature. This may seem complicated, but in fact, everyone understands it. The fly tiger is not trustworthy. Wang Mingzhen walked towards the gambling table in the hall with a complicated mood. After turning around, he found that he was a bit afraid to play. He had thought a lot before coming, but never thought that he dared not play. Turns out the clown is actually himself. It was not until this moment that Wang Mingzhen realized that even with the golden finger, he was still just an ordinary person, without the decisive determination and strong willpower of the protagonist in the novel. Taking a deep breath, Wang Mingzhen calmed down and walked towards the table of gu dice. The gameplay of gambling on size is undoubtedly the most suitable for him. As for going to a private room, firstly, he doesn't have enough chips in his hand, and secondly, he is afraid of being timid. Standing at the gambling table, when the Dutch official finished rolling the dice, Wang Mingzhen scanned his divine sense and found that it was 3, 5, and 6, big. Without hesitation, Wang Mingzhen pressed 1,000 chips onto the top, and when the Dutch official opened the dice gu, it was indeed a big deal. Having earned 2,000 yuan, Wang Mingzhen was somewhat excited. Sure enough, having the divine sense to cheat, gambling is really just an investment. However, he doesn't dare to go too far either. He usually uses his divine sense to scan and gamble 3 times, and then randomly gambles 3 times, each time only pressing 1,000, which is very rational. Nevertheless, within a few hours, the chips in his hand had increased tenfold, reaching over 130,000, which excited Wang Mingzhen immensely. It is very convenient to exchange chips directly into RMB at the code counter and then deposit them directly into his Bank of China card. In no time, Wang Mingzhen received a text message from Bank of China, seeing the balance of over 300,000 yuan in her card, which made her excited and unbearable. In just a few hours, he earned the money he could have saved up by not eating or drinking for 3 years. This kind of investment is indeed profitable, no wonder many people are addicted to it. One night without a dream, the next day Wang Mingzhen went to the Lisboa entertainment city again. This time he directly exchanged 100,000 chips, all of which were large denominations of 10,000 yuan, which was the result of his careful consideration. Today, he still followed yesterday's plan and used his divine sense to cheat and win 3 rounds, and then 3 rounds were randomly selected. However, today he was a bit bold, occasionally placing 100,000 yuan worth of chips at once. By the end of the morning, his chips had reached over 900,000 yuan, which was a result of his intentional control. Just like those merchants often price their products at 3,999,4999 or something like that, in Wang Mingzhen's view, attracting attention for over 900,000 yuan and 1 million yuan is definitely different. The Lisboa Entertainment City offers a one-stop catering service, and after a valuable lunch, Wang Mingzhen continues his investment. In the afternoon, he became even bolder and started directly counting points, which increased the odds. Of course, in order to avoid being eye-catching, he only cheats once out of every 5 using his divine sense. The minimum odds for gambling points are 1 to 0.6, and the maximum odds are even 1 to 0.50. This type of gambling is naturally more exciting, and people who play dice rarely gamble like this. Many gamblers originally saw that Wang Mingzhen was lucky and wanted to bet along with him. But seeing him gambling points, they all gave up, and this kind of gameplay really tests their luck. That is to say, Wang Mingzhen has a steady win out of every 5, otherwise this gambling method would definitely result in a complete loss. Throughout the entire afternoon, he bet more than 100 times based on his feelings, but only managed to win once. At this point, he was completely disappointed with his luck and decided not to leave. The odds of betting on such good points are naturally not cheap. Even though he lost 8 out of 10, he still won over 800,000 yuan this afternoon. There were also many gamblers who saw him win a lot in this gambling method, followed suit, and ended up losing completely. Seeing this, Wang Mingzhen couldn't help but chuckle lightly. He had no divine sense of cheating, and if he wanted to play this exciting gameplay, he simply felt that he had too much money. Just think about him betting more than 100 times and hitting it once to understand how low the probability of hitting is. After converting all the chips into Chinese yuan and depositing them into the Bank of China card, Wang Mingzhen couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Looking at the balance of over 2 million in the card, he wished he could go back to the casino and wreak havoc. It's not his fault for thinking this way, the money came in too quickly. If he relies on his own hard work, he may not be able to save so much money in his lifetime. However, Wang Mingzhen ultimately suppressed his impulse and left the casino to start exploring. Sure enough, money is a hero's courage. With money, he dares to go in and take a look at luxury stores that used to take a detour. After a meal of buying, Wang Mingzhen unknowingly spent hundreds of thousands, which gave him a feeling of spending money like flowing water. I stayed in Haojiang for a whole week, invested in all major entertainment cities, and successfully advanced to become a millionaire. In just 1 week, Wang Mingzhen felt more exciting than he had in the previous 30 years. It can be said that this trip to Haojiang has subtly changed Wang Mingzhen's character, making his original small-scale farming consciousness more grand and his overall temperament more confident. Carrying large and small bags, after passing the security check and taking a flight for more than 10 hours, Wang Mingzhen returned to the city of Handong, which is extremely familiar. It was not until then that his suspended heart was completely relieved, and his mood became much more relaxed. This is the true idea of Yunyu. Once, Yunyu was dragged by a friend to a small casino, and he was too scared to gamble. Spending a lot of money may seem carefree, but how many people earn some money all year round and end up getting a cheap casino? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Krypton Gold Rewards. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Krypton Gold Rewards. The next day, Wang Mingzhen lay in bed at the hotel, taking out her phone to search for rental information. For the next 2 months or so, he will still stay in Handong City and naturally need to find a temporary residence. In this highly developed world of information, Wang Mingzhen quickly found a suitable house, which was a well-decorated small 3-bedroom apartment with a monthly rent of around 3,000 yuan. After inspecting the scene, he signed a rental agreement with the landlord, paying 3 mortgages and renting for 3 months. Next, Wang Mingzhen went to the computer and spent over 10,000 yuan to buy the latest laptop. This is the tool he uses to write novels, so naturally he can't be careless. As for whether the price of writing novels by millionaires will drop, Wang Mingzhen believes there is no problem at all. You should know that his followers and the power of incense and fire all come from online novels. Therefore, writing online novels is crucial for his future development. According to Wang Mingzhen's idea, he will vigorously promote his novels to gain more followers and the power of incense. At the same time, it also provides a reasonable source of money for him, mainly to deal with his parents and relatives. Wang Mingzhen, who had no promotional channels, could only promote his novels in the most primitive way and let more people see them. He registered several Jianyang accounts with the ID cards of his parents, sister, and brother.in.law, and then took turns giving rewards for his novels, each time worth 100,000 coins. This is Wang Mingzhen's method, absolutely simple and unadorned, just a bit expensive. However, in order to reassure his parents and gain more extra benefits, Wang Mingzhen spent money and felt at ease. The banner publicity of the Silver League for more than half a month in a row, coupled with his daily 12 awesome updates, has significantly increased the performance of his novel, The Way of the Gods. The collection directly exceeded 100,000, and the average order increased from over 500 to 2,000, and even received 2 promotional recommendations. It can be said that everything is developing in a positive direction. When the remuneration was released in October, Wang Mingzhen's mood became even more uplifted, with a monthly remuneration of 122,886.23 yuan. Among them, subscription revenue is 10,657.56 yuan, reward guarantee is 110,185.50 yuan, group channel is 568.32 yuan, other channels are 148.73 yuan, and free revenue is 1,326.12 yuan. Deducting the 22 silver alliances that Wang Mingzhen personally rewarded, which is 220,000 yuan. If we deduct the manuscript tax, in fact, he has been busy this month, even losing a small 100,000 yuan. But in the long run, he made a big profit from this investment. Even if his subscription is halved next month, his remuneration for next month will definitely reach around 6 or 7,000, let alone he will not stop making money. Although this method of earning money may cause Wang Mingzhen some losses, this reasonable way of making money is his best explanation to his parents. As expected, when he told his parents about the high monthly remuneration of over 100,000 yuan, their joy was beyond words. The most crucial thing is that his number of followers has increased by more than 8,000 this month, and his power of incense and fire has increased by more than 130,000, even if it is converted into divine power, it is still as much as 13 points. If it continues, it will only take about 6 or 7 years for him to be promoted to the rank of 9th grade priest. Thinking of this, Wang Mingzhen became even more determined to spend money. This also made him understand a truth that no matter which industry, if you want to develop and grow, spending money is the best choice. During this period, Wang Mingzhen also did something very meaningful for him, which was to pay off all the mortgage in one go. Even if he plans to return to his hometown for development in the future, he has no intention of selling the small 3-bedroom apartment in Handong City, which is the real estate complex engraved in the bones of Chinese people. In the next 2 months, Wang Mingzhen increased his efforts to earn more money. Although he actually incurred more losses each month, his apparent remuneration also skyrocketed, reaching a high level of 167,000 yuan. On the New Year's Day of 2022, Wang Mingzhen will return to his hometown directly by bus. His parents had already returned from work and were momentarily stunned by his tremendous changes. However, after all, the blood vessels were connected, and Wang Mingzhen quickly regained consciousness. He looked at Wang Mingzhen back and forth, and his originally happy face became even happier. After dinner, Wang Mingzhen told his parents that he had resigned and planned to specialize in writing online novels in the future. After seeing his salary for the past 2 months, his parents expressed their support for his idea. Since writing online novels can earn more money, why work hard for others? I stayed at home comfortably for over half a month, sleeping until I woke up naturally every day, and then waiting for lunch, coding, lunch break, coding, dinner, coding, eating snacks, and sleeping. Life is very carefree, but life is extremely decadent. The only thing that bothers him the most is his parents urging him to get married, which has been a persistent problem in recent years. It is an essential part of every spring festival and daily phone calls. In the first half-month, there was no suitable partner, which was verbally urging for marriage. As the spring festival approaches, many girls are taking breaks and returning home, starting live-action dating programs. Although there are fewer and fewer eligible girls in the countryside, parents are always able to find suitable blind dates, which obviously requires a lot of effort. Wang Mingzhen had the intention not to go, but in the face of his father's cold violence and the coercion and temptation of his mother, he had to personally take action. After all, it is not surprising for a single young man in his 30s to be in the city, but it is still relatively rare in rural areas. The appearance of blind date girls is above the qualified level, or in other words, as long as they are not the kind of overweight girls, after putting on makeup, they are basically above the qualified line. If it had been in the past, Wang Mingzhen might have been perfunctory to her parents, procrastinated after work, and then let it go. But now, with a net worth of millions and a golden finger, his vision naturally improves a lot. To put it bluntly, he has no idea of a blind date, it's just a request from his parents, and he has to go through the motions. The girl should also be in the same situation. After they met once, they went their separate ways. Although parents are very disappointed with this result, after years of setbacks, they have become accustomed to this situation. Soon, the spring festival was over, and my parents were also preparing to go out to work. Wang Mingzhen hesitated for a moment before proposing to his parents the idea of contracting mountains and forests, planting fruit trees, and raising chickens and ducks. At first, the parents did not agree and felt that the risk was too high. However, Wang Mingzhen ultimately convinced his parents. His reason was simple. He works full-time at home and hopes that his mother can stay to take care of his daily life. At this point, his several months of writing fees were the greatest persuasive force. In this era of money, making more money means having a voice and is more valued by people. After summarizing, the parents agreed to Wang Mingzhen's idea. The older generation has a stronger rural sentiment, and if it weren't for providing them with better conditions, they wouldn't want to work unexpectedly and earn that hard-earned money every year. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Contracting Mountains and Forests. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 7 Contracting Mountains and Forests. Reading those novels about farming, the protagonist contracting the mountains and forests is extremely simple. To put it into practice, I only realized how troublesome it was. It took me over a month to complete various procedures and documents. Wang Mingzhen's family has contracted over 100 acres of mountain forest this time, right at his doorstep, adjacent to the village road, with very convenient transportation. The contract was signed for 50 years, and the rent was 100 yuan per acre per year, paid annually. As for why not contract the mountain top where the mountain god temple is located, it is too eye-catching and the village will not allow it. Moreover, this mountain forest is closer to his home, adjacent to the small hill where the mountain god temple is located, and belongs to the radiation range of the mountain god realm. Wang Mingzhen naturally would not object. After contracting the mountain forest, the most troublesome task is to cut down the trees, which requires various procedures to be completed. Even if Wang Mingzhen only prepared relevant documents and the specific procedures were carried out by his father, the level of trouble still made him feel scalp tingling. In theory, the trees in the mountains and forests belong to the village collective, and the village should arrange for people to cut them down and handle them. However, in reality, this is not the case. The trees in the mountains and forests are all miscellaneous trees such as cedars, and most of them are not made into wood, which cannot be sold at a high price. Finding someone to cut wood requires at least 300 yuan per person per day. The logging work of 100 acres of mountain forest requires at least 10 people and takes about a month to complete, which means that manual labor alone requires about 100,000 yuan, which exceeds the value of those trees. Therefore, when signing the agreement, these trees were cut down by Wang Mingzhen's family, and they were also handled by their own family, with no interference from the village. Even with the help of the village, handling the logging procedures still took about a month, and the complexity of various procedures made Wang Mingzhen's scalp tingle when he recalled it. Wang Mingzhen could not help but be very grateful. His father was very awesome and helped him deal with all kinds of worldly affairs. Otherwise, relying solely on himself, he may not be able to complete all the procedures even if given another month. By the time all the procedures were completed, it was already early May. But now we are stuck in the search for lumberjacks. Almost all the young and middle-aged people in nearby villages have gone to work in the city, and there is a serious shortage of labor. Finding enough lumberjacks is naturally very difficult. At this point, his father's network came into play, and within a few days, he brought in about 10 old men to promote the logging work. It took a full month to clean up the trees and weeds. The trees that were cut down were sold by his father to a furniture factory in the town at an extremely low price. Including the labor cost of logging, food expenses, and so on, there is a net loss of about 20,000 yuan. Indeed, the village's calculations are very accurate. Next, his father found someone to build a fence around the mountains and forests, and ordered fruit tree seedlings and so on. When the plantation was initially formed and filled with various fruit tree seedlings, it cost about 300,000 yuan, which can be described as spending money like flowing water. For those wealthy people, 300,000 yuan may just be for a meal. But for Wang Mingzhen's parents, it was a huge sum of money that could only be saved through years of frugality. Not to mention that all their savings have been given to Wang Mingzhen to buy a house in Handong City. His parents had never expected that contracting the mountains and forests would cost so much money, but when they realized it, it was already a difficult task. It was only after Wang Mingzhen received over 100,000 yuan in monthly remuneration that his parents reluctantly agreed to his reckless behavior. After all, there is such a large income every month, even if contracting the mountains and forests means losing everything, it will not have a significant impact on the family. Without any worries, his parents don't have to bear too much pressure and are naturally willing to support Wang Mingzhen's entrepreneurship. The more than 100 mu mountain forest is divided into 10 regions by Wang Mingzhen, with each region covering about 10 mu, respectively planting apples, snow pear, fragrant pears, nectarines, peaches, kumquats, green dates, oranges, pomelos, grapes and other common fruits. On the top of the small hill, Wang Mingzhen reserved over an acre of vacant land to build a rural villa. The procedures for the homestead land have been completed. Although some of them do not comply with the regulations, they are not as strict in the village. It's just that they cost a little more money. After the fruit trees were planted, without the need for Wang Mingzhen's reminder, his parents scattered over 1,000 chickens, adopted 2 local dogs, and even sprinkled a lot of watermelon seeds in the forest. With the support of his parents, there is no need for Wang Mingzhen to worry, everything is taken care of in an orderly manner. Wang Mingzhen was just secretly unleashing the divine powers of a bountiful harvest of 5 grains and the flourishing of 6 livestock. Both of these divine powers are scope-based, and the amount of divine power expended is closely related to the scope covered by the divine powers. According to Wang Mingzhen's experiment, the 5 grains and abundance divine power exerted by a little divine power can only cover a range of 10 acres, while the 6 livestock prosperity can probably cover 1,000 poultry. The effect of divine powers is very obvious, and Wang Mingzhen is very satisfied. The fruit tree seedlings, which were originally rare, grew exceptionally well under the influence of divine powers, even the newly planted watermelon seeds sprouted. Those free-range chickens are also full of vitality, embellishing the entire mountain forest with vitality. Even with the divine blessing of abundant grains, it takes at least 2 years for those fruit trees to bear fruit. But watermelons are different, they only take about 3 months to mature, so Wang Mingzhen will focus more on watermelons. Wang Mingzhen continued her mundane life of farming and writing online novels, while patiently waiting for the watermelon to ripen, to see if the effect of the 5 grains and abundance magic was as magical as described in the attribute panel. Over 2 months have passed in the blink of an eye, and those watermelons are almost ripe. Those watermelons that had earlier results were already about 10 pounds in size, and Wang Mingzhen couldn't bear it anymore. He often ran to tap the watermelons, listen to the sound, and see if they were ripe. These watermelons are all black-skinned and seedless. Firstly, Wang Mingzhen prefers to eat seedless watermelons. Secondly, seedless watermelons are relatively expensive and have greater economic benefits. Later, Wang Mingzhen couldn't resist the temptation and secretly picked a watermelon back. Although the watermelon is not yet fully ripe, its deep black stripes are like black gemstones and sell very well. Of course, although the appearance of watermelons is important, the taste is even more important. Wang Mingzhen first washed the watermelon with clean water, and then cut it open with a kitchen knife. Suddenly, a faint fragrance came from it, causing him to stir his fingers. Wang Mingzhen couldn't wait to take a big bite, his eyes couldn't help but brighten. This watermelon has a sweet and refreshing flesh, which is extremely delicious. A small 10-pound watermelon quickly entered his stomach, and the natural sense of happiness made him a bit tipsy. Wang Mingzhen did not expect that the miraculous power of abundant grains not only increased the growth rate and yield of plants, but also made their fruits more delicious, which can be described as having an incredible effect. This made him understand that these supernatural powers still have great potential to be tapped. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Selling melons in county towns. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 8 Selling Melons in County Towns. After dinner, Wang Mingzhen held out a large watermelon as if offering a treasure. Shwa shwa shwa. With a few cuts, the watermelon was instantly cut into 16 petals and placed on the dining table like a fairy scattering flowers, instantly spreading a refreshing fragrance throughout the kitchen. Watching Wang Mingzhen's playful behavior, a faint smile couldn't help but appear on his parents' faces. But when the refreshing fragrance came, he immediately ignored everything else and strode to the dining table, looking at the watermelon on the table with a hint of surprise in his eyes. "This watermelon exudes a refreshing fragrance, it's completely unheard of," his father exclaimed in surprise, then picked up the watermelon and took a bite. He immediately lost interest in speaking and began his journey of eating melons. His mother nodded and looked at the father and son who were eating melons, but couldn't help but move her index finger. She picked up a watermelon and started eating it. Soon, a watermelon weighing about 10 pounds was eaten up by this family of 3. Watching his parents lean against the chair with their stomachs propped up, Wang Mingzhen couldn't help but laugh and say, "Dad, Mom, these watermelons are delicious. When these watermelons are sold, all the money invested this year will be earned back. It's really delicious. It looks good and tastes even better. But we don't have any sales channels, let's sell it separately. When will all these watermelons be sold?" His father nodded first and then hesitated. "Good goods don't worry about selling. With the appearance and taste of our watermelons, they must sell very well. I think we can't sell them at a low price, but also at a high price, at least 2 yuan per kilogram." Wang Mingzhen said confidently. 2 yuan per kilogram, it's too expensive. Will anyone buy it if it's so expensive? His mother hesitated. "Mom, just take it easy. Someone will definitely buy it. When I was in Handong, some better varieties of watermelons were bought for 4 or 5 yuan per kilogram, and the taste was much worse than our watermelons. However, they cannot sell in the village, otherwise they may not be able to sell. At least they have to go to the county to sell. Although the consumption level in the county is not as good as that in Handong City, it is still very poor. Only the watermelon tastes good, and they are still willing to buy it. Well, Dad, I'll transfer 300,000 yuan to your postal bank card. You can buy a small truck these days, as well as some net bags, plastic bags, and electronic scales. We'll use the truck to directly transport watermelons to the county to sell." After Wang Mingzhen finished speaking, he took out his phone and transferred 300,000 yuan to his father's bank card. He didn't say much about the source of the money, nor did his parents ask much. "When I used to read novels, when I saw the protagonist making money, I kept covering it up for fear that my parents might misunderstand the source of the money. But in fact, as long as you show enough earning ability and occasionally take out more money, they won't care. Cars are the romance of men." Although Wang Mingzhen's father has obtained a driver's license, he always helps the company drive. "When I bought a car at home this time, I was immediately excited. Before dawn, I pulled Wang Mingzhen on a bus and headed towards the county. There were no accidents during the process of buying the car, no salespersons looked down upon Wang Mingzhen and his son, no wealthy second generation flaunting their wealth, and no small boss came to step on them. In short, they just bought a Liberation brand medium-sized truck for over 120,000 yuan in an ordinary way. Next, his father insisted on using the remaining tens of thousands to buy a domestically produced car for Wang Mingzhen. Wang Mingzhen naturally didn't want to go out and buy a high-end SUV for over 300,000 yuan in order not to ruin his father's character. His father is an experienced driver of a truck, with extremely fast speed. Although Wang Mingzhen has been obtaining a driver's license for several years, he has not touched the car much. It was only at a turtle speed that he had to grind his teeth to safely drive the car home. Wang Mingzhen's family purchased 2 cars, and the villagers and neighbors were not surprised either. Nowadays, cars are just too common, with 80.9% of households in the village owning cars. At most, the price difference between cars is quite large. The next morning, my parents picked hundreds of watermelons from the orchard and loaded them onto a truck. After having breakfast, he called Wang Mingzhen and drove a truck towards the county. Drive to a vegetable market in the county, find a place to stop the truck, and then wait for the guests to come. There was a lot of traffic in the market, and many people came to inquire about the price. However, when they heard the price of 2 yuan per kilogram, they all left cursing. Wang Mingzhen's parents couldn't help but feel anxious when they saw the situation. Wang Mingzhen, on the other hand, is the old god sitting on a truck, updating his novels on the writer's assistant app with his phone. At this point, the novel, Providence of the Heavenly Gods, has been completed, and his new novel, Journey of the Heavens starting from the Mountain God, is about to be released. Therefore, he needs to race against time to accumulate manuscripts and prepare for the explosive release. August 2022 is as hot as before, and even with the air conditioning on in the car, Wang Mingzhen still feels dry mouth and tongue. He climbed directly onto the carriage, took out a watermelon, slashed it a few times, handed his parents a slice, and then started eating tons of it. After the watermelon was cut open, a refreshing fragrance spread out and immediately attracted many people. Upon seeing this, Wang Mingzhen rolled his eyes and cut open a watermelon, distributing it to the people around him to taste. All those who tasted watermelon were amazed by the sweet taste that conquered everyone. Such a delicious watermelon, even if the price is a bit higher, how many people can refuse it? As expected, the crowd of people tasting watermelons immediately gathered around, shouting to buy watermelons. This scene left Wang Mingzhen's parents stunned. They didn't expect it to be so simple and attract so many guests. This is not because his parents have low intelligence, but because they have become accustomed to frugality and lack experience in running a stall, subconsciously avoiding this simple choice. Wang Mingzhen's father handed down watermelons one by one from the car, while his mother weighed and bagged them. As for receiving money, just scan the QR code on your phone to make the payment. Some elderly people may use cash for payment, but the quantity is not large. Chinese people have a habit of watching the excitement, just like restaurants. The more people there are, the more people go to restaurants, even if they have to queue up, they are willing to do so. Because the more people there are, the better the food in the store, which naturally attracts more people. Setting up a stall to sell things is the same. Previously, there was no one interested, but now it is overcrowded. Quickly, a cart of 400 to 500 watermelons sold out, and many people left without buying them, cursing and leaving. After returning home, the parents counted the harvest and received a total of 8,426 yuan, which means they sold 4,213 kilograms of watermelons today. This is just the first day's harvest. The business will definitely get better and better in the future, and there should be no problem with a daily income of over 10,000. And selling watermelons can be done for at least a month, which means there is at least a gross income of around 300,000 yuan. With this calculation, the smile on his parents' faces could no longer be concealed. Seeing his parents happy, Wang Mingzhen naturally became even happier. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Gradually Rising Reputation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Gradually rising reputation. In the following days, the sales of watermelons became increasingly popular, and as soon as they were sold out, they were quickly sold out. The main reason is that there are a lot of repeat customers, who are not buying one or two, but buying one bag at a time, and the sales speed is naturally extremely fast. This watermelon has an excellent taste and is particularly refreshing. Whether you eat it at home or give it as a gift when visiting relatives, there is nothing you don't like. This kind of affordable gift has naturally become the first choice for many people. Some customers did not buy it on the same day and were unwilling to give up, so they drove with Wang Mingzhen's parents to the orchard. They saw a large area of watermelons in the plantation and insisted on picking them themselves, experiencing the joy of picking them. Wang Mingzhen's parents may not understand the actions of these people, but Wang Mingzhen knows a little about them. For those in the city, this is a rare way of leisure, and they enjoy it. Such explosive sales have naturally attracted the attention of some fruit merchants. But these people, for the sake of profit, have kept wholesale prices extremely low, costing 30 cents per kilogram. Wang Mingzhen's parents are naturally unwilling. They are not unable to sell it, so how could they be willing to offer cheaper prices to those fruit merchants? However, those fruit merchants also had some tricks. The next day, Wang Mingzhen's parents were punished by the urban management for illegally occupying the road, and the watermelons in the car were also confiscated. This made Wang Mingzhen extremely angry, but there was no good way. Who would have thought that although this approach blocked the way for Wang Mingzhen's parents to sell melons in the county town, it allowed more people to choose self-driving tours and purchase from Wang Mingzhen's plantation. These people are not buying a few, at least they start with £100, otherwise I'm sorry they came all this way. At this moment, the free-range chickens in the plantation came into their sight. These chickens, under the influence of the six-animal prosperity, grow extremely fast and are comparable in size to adult native chickens, but it is indeed not yet time to lay eggs. Therefore, those who want to buy homemade eggs can only return disappointed. But there are always some foodies among these people who turn their attention to those local chickens. Wang Mingzhen's parents originally did not plan to sell them, as these corns were about to lay eggs and would be a lucrative source of income, but those people gave them too much. Next, Wang Mingzhen's family planting garden gained increasing fame and had a certain influence in the county and surrounding towns. Every day, many people come to pick watermelons or buy local chickens, making it extremely lively. After those free-range chickens lay eggs, the popularity of the plantation also increases. These homemade eggs have an excellent taste, and more people are looking to buy them. In order to make it accessible to everyone, we ultimately had to take measures to restrict purchases, which shows its popularity. This situation directly made the fruit merchant dumbfounded. He had a good relationship, but he also had no ability to prevent others from coming to Wang Mingzhen's plantation to buy watermelons. In the end, he could only be powerless and furious. Wang Mingzhen was unaware of all of this, and if she did, she might have a heartfelt smile. On this day, Wang Mingzhen received a phone call stating that the small 3-bedroom apartment he purchased in Handong had already reached the date of handover and acceptance. He told his parents, and then the trunk of the car was filled with some watermelons and dirt eggs, so he set off for Handong. Wang Mingzhen worked in Handong for several years, although he didn't make many friends, his colleagues had good relationships with him. He will not forget to give them some gifts when he returns to Handong this time. And his watermelon and local eggs are good local specialties. Before departure, Wang Mingzhen booked a private room in Heqingshui Township and called his colleagues, saying that he would return to Handong today and invite them to have lunch in Heqingshui Township at noon, making sure they were present. After returning to Handong, Wang Mingzhen went directly to Heqingshui Township. Colleagues looked at him and joked about his current appearance. He used to have an average appearance and a small belly, belonging to the ordinary and unremarkable type of person. But now his appearance has not changed, but he is thin and dry, with shiny skin and a special talent, belonging to the kind that doesn't look good at first, but becomes more and more durable. After chatting and joking for a while, the previously unfamiliar atmosphere suddenly became familiar. After finishing, Wang Mingzhen distributed the watermelons and eggs she brought at home to her colleagues and made an agreement to meet again in the future. In the following days, Wang Mingzhen completed the house inspection and obtained the property certificate. This small 3-bedroom apartment is not big, but once all his family's savings combined were only enough for the down payment, which made him have a special affection for this house. Perhaps he won't have much time to come to Handong in the future, but he is not prepared to be careless in the decoration of this house. I found a reputable decoration company and chose a low-key, luxurious, and meaningful decoration plan to decorate my new house. Wang Mingzhen was very satisfied with the panoramic view of the renovation plan, but the price made him feel a bit uncomfortable. This small 3-bedroom has an indoor area of only 70 square meters, but the decoration cost is as high as 680,000 yuan, almost reaching a high price of 10,000 yuan per square meter. Thinking of the magnificent decoration plan, Wang Mingzhen gritted his teeth and agreed to proceed with the decoration according to this plan. A decoration contract has been signed, with a 3-month construction period and completion by the end of November. Vacant for 2 months, available for occupancy by the end of the year. After determining the decoration plan, Wang Mingzhen made a down payment of 200,000 yuan first. After the completion and delivery of the project, an additional payment of 300,000 yuan will be made. The remaining balance of 180,000 yuan will be paid in 3 months. If quality issues are found within 3 months, use the final payment of 180,000 yuan for rework. On that day, Wang Mingzhen received a call from her sister. She and her 2 nephews took today's train from Linshur back to Handong, and are expected to arrive at the train station tomorrow morning. Let him not forget to pick them up at the station on time. The next day, Wang Mingzhen drove directly to the train station to pick up people. I haven't seen him for nearly 2 months, and my 2 little nephews have grown a little taller. When I saw him, I quickly ran over and affectionately called out to my uncle. After eating a Wallace burger with 2 little guys at the train station, Wang Mingzhen drove home. Along the way, he chatted with his sister about family matters, and time passed quietly in the chat. As he approached the village entrance, Wang Mingzhen was startled by the cars stretching hundreds of meters along the roadside. When he left home, although the plantation was very popular, it did not reach this level. Watching his parents busy, Wang Mingzhen and his siblings were too busy to rest and quickly got off the car to help. As for the 2 nephews, they ran upstairs with their phones to play games. Taking a break from his busy schedule, Wang Mingzhen learned that these people not only come from the county, but also from surrounding counties and cities, but are mostly migrant workers returning from surrounding towns. These people, like his sister, all came back to send their children to school. After hearing about the reputation of the plantation, they came over specifically to taste it. As these people spread, the reputation of Wang Mingzhen's family's botanical garden also grew stronger. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Small Courtyard Chats. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Small Courtyard Chats. The night was as cool as water, and Wang Mingzhen and his family sat in the backyard to cool off after dinner. The gentle evening breeze made Wang Mingzhen feel a bit drowsy, and her whole body was in a state of being neither asleep nor awake. The exhaustion of a busy day seemed to be reduced by 3 points. Suddenly, Wang Mingzhen's arm was pulled, instantly bringing him back to his senses. Rubbing my sleepy eyes, the figures of my parents and sister immediately caught my eye. Looking at their hesitant expressions, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl slightly. They are all family, let's talk about it. Wang Mingzhen said indifferently. Their family doesn't have those bullshit incidents, and they're not the kind of person with a cold nature. Naturally, their relationship is excellent. This kind of emotion is as plain as water, but like fine wine, and it becomes richer and sweeter with the brewing of time. Ah Zhen, you also know that in recent years, the aluminum-plastic door and window market has been increasingly sluggish. Your brother-in-law and I usually earn a little money by helping those door and window factories with processing work. But the prices are getting lower and lower, and we often delay payments. Your brother-in-law and I have long wanted to switch careers, but we don't know why it's better. Sister Wang Mingfang didn't beat around the bush and said straightforwardly, nowadays, our plantation is so popular that we can't rely on our parents to get busy. We definitely need to hire someone in the future. What do you think of me and your brother-in-law? Wang Mingzhen naturally has a good understanding of the situation of his sister and brother-in-law. Simply put, it means that one cannot earn money in their current job and has no other means of livelihood. He wants to do some other business without any capital, and is in a very awkward state, which is no different from before he awakened his golden finger. Wang Mingzhen thought for a moment and slowly said, Sister, I understand what you mean. Starting from next year, the plantation will definitely need someone to help, but the salary level here is at most 5 or 6,000 yuan per month. I don't think you or your brother-in-law will be interested in this salary. Wang Mingzhen and his siblings have a great relationship, and he naturally wouldn't say anything with a hollow head. As for offering high salaries to his sister and brother-in-law, he never thought about it. Once there were mixed interests in the relationship, many things would turn sour, and he had to take precautions. After having the golden finger, money is just a number to him. He can confidently say, just like some boss ma, that I'm not interested in money. The happiest time for me is when I write online novels to earn some money. Upon hearing this, Wang Mingfang couldn't help but remain silent. To be honest, the consumption level in my hometown is low, and a monthly salary of 5 or 6,000 is excellent for living. But parents always hope to give their children a decent family business, so that they won't start in hell in the future. Wang Mingfang, as the mother of 2 children, naturally shares the same idea. Wang Mingzhen's mother wanted to say something, but was stopped by his father. Shengmian, Dumi Cho, the old man has seen too many bullshit incidents in his life. Among his relatives and friends, there are also many who are unhappy because of a little money, and he never interacts with them. Naturally, he does not want his children to do the same. Wang Mingfang seemed to sense the eerie atmosphere in the courtyard, and she didn't want her younger brother to be difficult. She forced a slight smile out of her mouth and self-deprecatingly said, it's because I didn't think carefully and thought things too simple. After speaking, he changed the topic and began to inquire about finding a girlfriend for Wang Mingzhen. As soon as this topic came up, it immediately caught the attention of Wang Mingzhen's parents, and the 3 of them started chatting enthusiastically. Instead, it made Wang Mingzhen feel uncomfortable all over and embarrassed, wanting to run away. In the past, when my parents were not with me, as long as I celebrated the spring festival, I would occasionally endure some phone calls from my parents. Tired of listening, just hang up the phone and hide in the small building, regardless of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. But now it's different. His parents are right in front of him, urging him to get married 3 times a day in person, and sometimes even having a tripartite meeting at night. This puts Wang Mingzhen in constant turmoil, forcing him to follow his parents' wishes and occasionally send a few WeChat messages to a girl on a blind date, which can be considered as a way to handle the task. In order to prevent getting burned, Wang Mingzhen wisely began to shift the topic. Sister, if there are still 180 people coming here every day for the next 3 or 4 months, then you should be able to make a lot of money by doing a farm trip here next year. Farmhouse music. Wang Mingfang was stunned at the words. Yes, it's just farmhouse fun. These people come from the city and naturally have to eat. Even if there are only 10 guests every day, the average consumption per person is 100, and the daily gross profit is 30,000, so it shouldn't be difficult to earn 1 or 2,000 per month. Wang Mingzhen said confidently. This is Wang Mingzhen's intention to calculate less, mainly because he is afraid that giving his sister too much hope may not achieve the goal in the end, causing her to feel unbalanced. In this way, it's better to set the goal lower, as surpassing it will make you even happier. According to Wang Mingzhen's observation during this period, there is still a great market for running farmhouse entertainment. After those city dwellers come to the plantation, they don't just go straight after picking watermelons. Many of them will wander around the mountains and go fishing in the pond, as if they have come for tourism. After discovering these, Wang Mingzhen had the idea of running a farmhouse. However, his family had limited resources and his parents were already busy enough. He didn't want to make more money and become busy, so he buried this idea in his heart. Now, my sister wants to find a better job, so Wang Mingzhen came up with this idea. Sure enough, listening to his analysis, Wang Mingfang's eyes became brighter and her face showed a lively expression. Upon seeing this, Wang Mingzhen smiled and said, "There is still over an acre of vacant land on the top of the small hill. I asked my dad to spend some money to turn it into a homestead. We were originally planning to build a small villa, but we will allocate half of it to build a farmhouse for you." Upon hearing his plan, his parents couldn't help but show interest. If Wang Mingzhen had mentioned this plan before, he would definitely have been scolded by his parents for wasting money. But with a gross income of over 400,000 yuan this month, having money gives Wang Mingzhen confidence. Things that he didn't dare to think about were no longer a problem. Instead, the family was discussing passionately, and the feeling of envisioning the future made Wang Mingzhen addicted to it. His father is a quick-witted person. He immediately made the decision to find someone to build a house tomorrow, and his eagerness made Wang Mingzhen feel a bit dumbfounded. Building villas and farmhouses is not as simple as building houses in rural areas. It can be decided by simply tapping your head. This definitely requires finding professional personnel for design, with their own unique features, in order to attract more customers. Wang Mingzhen clattered a big push, which made the old man a bit dumbfounded. But after careful consideration, I have to admit that what Wang Mingzhen said is reasonable. So the matter of determining the design plan also fell on his head, which made Wang Mingzhen shake his head and smile bitterly, but also enjoy it. End of this chapter.